Esports is still a new concept, but for the drivers, racing for the likes of Ferrari comes with it a weight of expectation as they look to build on the legacy of great drivers from both past and present and write a new chapter in the history of these famous teams.
And the tracks have their very own mystique, a legacy of great moments and even greater races with every turn, and even a straight with its very own story to tell. There can't be many better than the British Grand Prix.
Absolutely incredible action.
That is an absolute masterstroke.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the British Grand Prix.
Welcome along to the F1 Esports Pro Championship. That is where we are racing tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And when I say us, I mean myself, and also the return of Nick Hamilton. Nick, I missed you yesterday. We battled on bravely through the show. Is it good to be back?
I'm glad you made it, Tom. I'm glad you made it. Yes, it is. I missed not being on the show, so glad to be back today. I had a good day off, but I'm glad to be back. It looked like you had some great racing yesterday. I managed to keep up with everything, so really looking forward to see how it goes today.
OK, well, this is going to be good because I tell you what, if you had missed it, I was going to say Lucas Blakely, 2 wins out of 2.
Believe it.
I mean, we saw him last year, 2021, really show that form potential to be the drivers' champion, but unfortunately wasn't able to do it. But this year, it seems like it's a different story for him.
Yeah, he started strong, hasn't he? And obviously with the new game, it's been a chance to reset. They didn't know whether they were going to be as strong as they were on this game as they were on the last game, but Lucas Blakely showed that he's definitely one of the strongest, and at the moment, 100% the strongest and the man to beat.
Yeah, OK, let's confirm the race result then for you now, if you're just joining and you didn't catch all of the action yesterday. Lucas Blakely finishing with the full 25 points. Marcel Kiefer of Red Bull and Freddie Rasmussen close behind him. And then the rookie definitely upsetting the apple cart straight in and doing very, very well is Thomas Ronhaar, followed by Danny Moreno, Matthias van Erwin in 6th. So that gives Haas the most points that they pretty much ever had in the series, in the competition of the F1 Esports Pro Championship. So do you know what? They are doing absolutely brilliantly. Barry Borman in 7th and Alvaro Caraton picking up a point for Williams. They're only one so far. But guys, it's only been 2 races. I need to talk about this a little bit more. Lucas Blakely, 2 out of 2. I mean, he was so good in Bahrain, and it was a joint effort really to try and hold Jarno Opmeer at bay.
Yeah, I mean, they worked very well. This is obviously their first race as a team, as teammates, Lucas Blakely and Barry Beaumont. But Lucas, super consistent, and he carried it into the day after. He managed to get ahead of the Red Bulls, and he had the Red Bulls breathing down his neck for the majority of the race and still managed to come home the winner. Well done, and you can see how much it means to him, so much effort and emotion he puts into his race.
You have to understand, though, that there's so many hours and time goes into this, and we've actually got a conversation of the Red Bull team chatting from Marcel Kiefer's perspective during that race, trying to catch Lucas Blakely. This is how quick he was. This is what they said.
I think he was just faster.
Yeah, we tried everything we could in our arsenal to...
Honestly, like he had insane traction the whole race again.
I think we did an all-around good job, no? Like all of us wasn't good.
You're hearing Liam Parnell there, the team. He's the 3rd driver for Red Bull, the tactician. They tried everything in their arsenal. They just couldn't catch him. Insane traction. But that does not come easy for Lucas. But it must be so tense for him to have those Red Bulls behind him the whole race.
Yeah, especially when you're in a F1 Esports race. You know, these guys, they've been racing, I think, 32 laps around Imola. It's all about not getting done for track limits, pinged for track limits. And they managed to be separated by 0.4 of a second. It's incredible, honestly, how much these guys do in terms of being inch perfect, and to not crack under pressure when you're leading a race that's so important to you. We see how it's so important to Lucas. and to not crack is absolutely incredible. So he's done really well.
We've noticed his efforts. You at home have noticed his efforts. Even Lando Norris retweeted Lucas's message on the Instagram story here. 2 out of 2. Keep it up. I mean, Lucas is a massive McLaren fan. Must be buzzing right now when Lando notices the efforts and achievements he's making.
Yeah, and it's kudos to Lando as well to be watching and to be supporting the industry of esports and gaming as a whole. So, you know, that's going to really help Lucas. The fact that he's been seen, he's been noticed by the likes of Lando. And obviously it's a new team for him, isn't it, at McLaren? And to you know, come off the bat straight away with 2 wins in a brand new team, and now Lando Norris, you know, seeing his greatness at the moment.
Cloud 9.
Must mean a lot.
He's got to be in Cloud 9. However, the Red Bull team couldn't catch him. They didn't quite have that pace. They needed to get back to form. They want to get that team championship, which they had a firm grasp on in the last couple of years. And it's still alive. I mean, Freddie Rasmussen going from 9th to 3rd, an impressive outing for them.
Yeah, a great undercut from Freddie in this moment. He was able to close the gap from 7th basically to P3, where he ended up being right and directly behind his teammate, and they were able to then work as a team. We've seen Red Bull, Rasmussen and Kiefer, how well they work together. And yeah, what a great result for them, you know, to be back up there.
Yeah, we have a brilliant team working behind the scenes, making all these graphics, and it was very simple for them. 25 plus 25 equals 50. Lucas Blakely at the top of the charts with that. Danny Moreno in 3rd. And when we look here at the team championship, we see all the way down at the bottom, Alpine hoping to get their first point today, and they've got a chance. I don't want to give too much away, but it was brilliant in the quali. But there you go, McLaren Shadow at the top. So, despite David Tinitza picking up some points last night at Imola, it is fair to say that it hasn't been the start to the season that Ferrari would have wanted. Ariana Brava is there once again tonight. Ariana, how are the team feeling after the first 2 races?
Well, I'm here in the room. As you can see, we've got Fabrizio and Brendan just behind us practicing now, so not going to distract them for too long. We have David with us. David, how are the team feeling ahead of this evening's race?
Well, pretty confident because this time we managed to achieve a P10 and P12. We've already seen from the past races that it's very possible to overtake us, and there is a lot of crashes, especially in Silverstone. It's very easy to get track limits, so it's going to be a factor, I think, as well, that someone is going to risk a bit, maybe. So who knows? Maybe we're going to see some penalties, and we can take advantage from that.
Okay, and in terms of the practice that Brendan and Fabrizio are doing right now, what is the sort of thing you'll be practicing this close to the race time? Take us into their minds right now.
Well, usually after the qualifying, right before the race, we usually test race strategies. So we know the position where we are going to start from. We need to be ready for the first lap. So of course we're trying some race starts, and of course the strategy that we're going to adopt.
And you're starting P10, P12. How much teamwork is going to come into today's race in order to make sure both the drivers are able to get as far up as possible?
Well, we will see after the first lap, because usually in these races it's good to start in a very close position, so to be together, to get some train with DRS and ERS. We saw from Imola the pair of Freddie and Marcel, they were helping each other quite a lot. So, of course, to stay close to each other, it's better. But, again, we need to see after the first lap how is the track position.
Now, in the qualifying show, before I let these guys go, I asked them what they were going to have for dinner. We've now had dinner. What did you have, please?
Well, I had literally the same burger that I had in the past 2 nights, because I'm really enjoying it. So that's good for me.
Okay, fine. And we had pasta today rather than pizza. So there you have it, guys. There is the update from Ferrari and the update from our food choices. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Ariana Bravo. You have to understand, in the quali show, which happens at about 3:30 earlier in the day, I was just fascinated to know what everyone was having. And I'm glad, Ariana...
Brendan Lee said he had 4,000 calories.
That's too heavy to go into this race. I feel really bad for Ariana because she's there, she's trying to get the insight and the knowledge, but they're trying to practice, they're getting ready for a huge race, and they are hoping to get back to form today, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of tension for Ferrari. They're used to being up there in the mix, and you can see that that they've got the potential, especially with Donoso as well being new to the team. Tanitsa got some good points yesterday, did very well, but then they're still not firing on all cylinders at the moment, are they? And you can see that they're a bit tense about it. So it's hard for Adriana to be there when it's so serious. It's game time. But she's doing a great job, and hopefully Ferrari can get some good points today.
Fantastic addition to the team, she is. However, if you do win at Silverstone, I think you're allowed 4,000 calories of celebration. Freddie Rasmussen did that. You're no stranger to the track at the British Grand Prix. Nick, you know all about it. It's one of your favourites. What did you make of Freddie Rasmussen, and can he do it again from pole position?
Yeah, I mean, he's the greatest tactician when it comes to using the ERS at the best time, the most optimal time, and managing to actually snatch that win away from Danny Moreno. Obviously, he's going to be, leading from the front pretty much today, so I think it's his to lose.
OK, 3 poles in a row. Look, it has been fantastic having Ariana at Ferrari this week, and with the likes of Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari all having their esports teams based at the F1 team headquarters, the two worlds are very much becoming more connected, with the drivers and the teams working alongside one another. In fact, Ferrari F1 driver Charles Leclerc enjoyed something of a trust exercise with Brendan Lee when he tried out a lap with a difference around Silverstone.
I'm so bad with left and right.
That was a beautiful slide. I didn't tell you to go straight, did I?
Nope.
So I guide you, don't worry. I'm the best guide in the world.
Oh,
Right, okay. You're going to have control in 3 seconds, and then you'll be coming up to the final complex. So we turn a little bit left to the 1, now go straight. And it would help if you press the brake so we can slow down, and this is a wall. So now you're reversing.
Oh, yes.
So if we turn more to the left, that was a beautiful slide. Don't worry about the wall. So now turn left 10 degrees, now go straight. Now you're coming up to the first complex of corners, turn left by 10 degrees. That's right. I didn't tell you to go straight, did I?
Nope.
Now keep going straight. Now go to the left by 50 degrees. Now you're coming up to the apex of turn 3, turn to the right. So now you're in the wall of turn 3, congratulations. Now you're coming up to the left-hander. Do a bit of rallying here. So turn to the left a bit more, keep committed to the left. You didn't stop, my friend. Right, now in reverse, to the left.
All right.
Now,
I'm so bad with left and right.
we're starting to get a flow here,
Yeah.
right? Straight. Perfecto. Now to the left. Now through Pop's corner, fully to the right. Now you're coming to Mags and Beckett. So now to the left, let's slow it down. Oh, you spun on the
Oh, I
curb.
lost it.
That was unlucky, to be fair. Now we go straight. Don't worry about track limits. No one's enforcing anyway. Now through the right-hander. You're in 5th gear, fully in the wall. Okay. You're coming up to the final complex of corners. So keep going straight, straight, straight. Turn to the left. Keep it straight, keep it straight, keep it straight, keep it straight. Now stop. Let's slow down. Keep going to the left. Beautiful spin. Beautiful spin. Now through to the right-hander. Let's reverse. Down
Oh
to
my
twist.
God.
It's fine, we're almost at the end of the lap. Torch is almost over. Now stop, go straight.
Tell me straight and right.
Right, 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 right. More. The wall helped. I mean, you did a beautiful donut. Now let's reverse. This is all good, this is all part of the plan. So you're in neutral, let's go up 1 gear. Now to the right, you're in the final corner basically. Go down, go left. Mate, we're so close, and you're doing donuts in the grass for the crowd, they're loving you right now.
Good.
Let's go straight, 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 straight. And you did a 4-minute 58.1. I think it's the lap record. You finished the lap, mate.
That's quite good, actually.
Yeah, honestly, it was not bad.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you very much to Brendan and Charles Leclerc for doing that. I feel like these two next to me have maybe had a blindfold on when they were getting dressed today because they've gone for an identical outfit. Look, I've got to talk about it. I feel like you're in a new boy band of Dark Side of the Maroon or something.
Or Maroon 2.
I feel like we've sandwiched you in. There's so much to discuss about the outfits. That's not what this show's all about. Matt Gallagher, return of Alex Jacobs.
Hold on.
Hang on.
This show is not about the accidental fact that we we have worn the same outfit.
Yeah, but look, you look fantastic.
Don't you dare.
Matt Gallagher, yesterday was brilliant. And to see today, Freddie Rasmussen putting it on pole. I mean, it was just a brilliant qualifying session today.
It was. Great quali show at 3:30. It was really good. Freddie Rasmussen back to form, had an amazing undercut strategy at Imola, which allowed him to get a nice podium, get some points on the board. Starting from pole today, he won last year as well. He's going to be the man to beat.
OK, if anyone was unaware what we're talking about, you've both gone for the same outfit. Alex Jakes, is that something you
I'm Alex, by the way, just in case anyone's confused.
Was that something deliberate because you missed yesterday's action and now you're back again? You wanted to just sort of...
Yeah, I just wanted to tighten it up, you know, just a commentary uniform. No, unintentional. Let's focus on what's ahead for our sake.
Nick, we were part of the quali show today. Q1, Berejne out. It really hasn't been the return for him and his new team, Alfa Romeo. But Luke Smith, however, one of the other rookies, really upsetting the order.
Yeah, it's really good to see Luke Smith in for Alpine and doing such a great job, getting straight into Q2 there. You can see how happy he is, what it means to him. And this was Danny Moreno actually out in Q1, P16, so really not a good result from him.
Yeah, big shock that. Love Luke Smith's backdrop there, all the artwork, space stuff. But
say the joke.
No, I'm not going to say the joke. No, do you know what? Now you've said that, I'm not going to say there was no atmosphere there. Go on, Matt.
Marcel Kiefer,
yeah, exceeded the track limits, infringement there. That was a shock.
It was a big mistake for someone like Marcel Kiefer to do it turn 1 of all places to get an invalidated lap, which forced him out in Q2. Lucas Blakely had 1 lap. 1 lap, that's all he had, and managed to stick it P2 in Q2, and you can see how much it meant to him. Had a few issues, but managed to iron them all out and get through to Q3. And Luke Smith, again, left it till the very last second, and another celebration. We love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, getting to Q3, he messaged, he said, super happy with his performance, good chance for points. However, when you look at it, I mean, the pressure that Blakely was under with the tech issues, but he pulled it out of nowhere. And then Haas's Ronha has been fantastic. He set the provisional fastest time. But who did it? Who finally cracked Thomas's pace?
I think we gave it away before we started looking at this.
Yeah, we did.
It was this man, Freddie Rasmussen, who is very, very quick around Silverstone, and he managed to stick it on pole position. And it wasn't Ronha joining him on the front row either. It was Sebastian Job entering the fray, which we love to see. And look at that, the starting grid.
Oh, perfect. It's like you've done this before. What a team this is tonight. So, Freddie Rasmussen on pole, then Sebastian Job in second, Thomas in third. Nicholas Longe, I'm personally hoping he finds a little bit of that form again. He's been very frustrated. Danny Moreno said full focus on the race, which is good to hear. Freddie Rasmussen, that's 3 poles back-to-back at Silverstone. Matt, can any of these drivers topple that?
Yeah, I mean, if you saw the gaps, they are minute. So there's definitely an opportunity for the cars behind. Freddie Rasmussen didn't lead until the very last lap, or halfway around the last lap last year. So it's going to be tactics. It's a completely different game. We've seen different strategies work as well already this year. So he's going to have his work cut out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, someone like Alvaro Carreton, 1,000th of a second missing out on Q3, then today 9,000th. Alex, we know it is going to be close. Can you see anyone other than Freddie Rasmussen winning this?
Well, it's a strange sentence to ask, really, isn't it, when you consider this has been the Lucas Blakely show so far. But, yeah, given the form, given the history, given the fact he's managed to plop it on pole when it's a different game, he is the man to beat, but it's been ultra-competitive, especially on those out laps. So I think that's going to be the key to the race.
Nick, have you been surprised? I mean, the likes of Luke Smith, a rookie, really upsetting that apple cart, as I mentioned earlier on, and just letting the other drivers who've been around for a little while know that, hey, there's a new crop coming through.
No, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, you look at Thomas Ronha and the job he's doing for Haas, so it doesn't surprise me that Luke Smith's come in for his first and debut qualifying and doing such a great job. We can see from Ronha, he's struggling a little bit when it comes to the first lap of the race, and I think once he gets that sorted, he'll be really, really strong. And I think with Luke, he's got a lot to learn, I would say, for his first lap today. But he's put himself in the right positions to do a really good job.
Matt, just finally, before we go to a break and then we can settle ourselves, you can go up to the comms desk. The thing is, with the F1 Esports Pro Championship, there is always that train. Put 1 foot wrong and then the race is all over. I mean, how difficult is it for these guys? Because they've got the pace, they've all got that pace, it's just those little mistakes are going to hold them back.
Yes, delivering on the night, and I think that's something that we've seen in terms of qualifying, how important that is. Jana Watmere didn't have the greatest qualifying in Imola, got tagged by Brendan Lee in Imola, spun round, and that pretty much was curtains for any chances for the points. But yeah, you have to be in that top 5 to be in the mix. But we saw Freddie Rasmussen pull off an amazing undercut strategy. So you can make it work, but you have to be inch perfect. OK,
final question before we do go to that break. We saw how impactful it can be if your teammate is backing you up with McLaren in Bahrain. In Imola, you had Red Bull as a tag team. You've got McLaren and Alpine today in that top 10. Is that going to really affect, or can that give them the advantage, Alex?
And give them a lot of options, and that's what you want. You can work together. We've seen so many races controlled by one team, but that makes the first lap so important as well. One thing to have the advantage on the grid, another thing to convert it in the early stages of the race.
OK, all right, gentlemen, we will have a break. When we come back, we'll get the action all underway at the British Grand Prix. Welcome back then to event 1 of the F1 Esports Pro Championship 2022. We are going racing at the British Grand Prix in just a moment's time. Nick, before we get to that race, I want to get your final thoughts. How difficult it's going to be for some of those drivers that performed well. I don't know if you noticed, we didn't quite see the full grid. Simon Weigang right at the back. He's been very dominant and in the points. How difficult is it for him at a track like this to get back into those points?
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but what we saw from David Tinitz's interview just then, he said that there's some great opportunities for overtaking. So, you know, for the likes of Weigang and also Kiefer down the back there, which is going to be quite difficult for him, and it's going to make, I think, Freddie Rasmussen's job harder at the front. Because he's used to having his teammate there, working as a team together. So it's going to be difficult for them, but also they've got 50% race distance now, so that might help. We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, we will indeed. Now, if you are going to work as a team, you need to be sort of thinking exactly the same. That synergy has to be there. Alpine looking for their first points. What advice would you give to them to get on the board?
I mean, it's Luke Smith's first race in F1 Esports Pro Championship, so I think for him, he's just got to enjoy his first race, get a good start, work as a team with Patrick and see where they end up. I don't think there's any pressure on these guys. I don't think they're expecting to be as fast as they were. Obviously, everyone wants to win, but they're in a fantastic position. It's great to see them up there, so just go out, enjoy it and see what happens.
Fingers crossed. What I was also alluding to is you need to have that synergy. You need to know what your teammate is going to do, especially when it comes to commentating looking exactly the same. I'm unsure which is which, but Alex Jakes is up there and so is Matt Gallagher. Could you just identify yourselves, please? Which one's which?
Thank you, Cream Team. One of the great throws.
He just knew he was teeing himself up for the pre.
He went too early, didn't he?
Yeah.
He went too early.
We were
he was
giggling
like,
about
you got to work with your teammate this. You've got to be in synergy that. We're like, we get it, Tom. You're a professional comedian. Yes, needless to say, the man and I will be WhatsApping each other to find out what we're wearing next time so that this doesn't happen again.
I quite like it.
But anyway, quiet, because there's the third race of the year ready to come your way around the magnificent Silverstone circuit. Thank goodness Silverstone circuit has appeared so we can focus on the action and all keep our jobs. Here we go. You know it very well. It's 5.8 kilometers, 3.6 miles, 18 turns, the 15th different version of this circuit since this place opened originally. You can see the old airfields where they used to race back before Formula One even began. But Matt, this is a fearsome test of a driver's skill.
Well, the drivers say this is one of the easier circuits, and that's the reason why we've seen such a close qualifying earlier this afternoon. Plenty of overtaking
so not
opportunities.
The fearsome test that I set up.
Well, apparently not for F1 Esports drivers. Maybe for you, Alex, if you were on the game. But but yes, it should provide plenty of action. It's going to be interesting to see how they utilise the strategy. We expect most of them to start on the hard tyres due to the tyre warm-up phase. They don't want to be sticking on the hards after their pit stop. So yeah, plenty to still watch out for, and see how it unfolds.
We're looking forward to this then. A reminder that we are going to 5 red lights at Silverstone. The lights go out and we're racing for the British Grand Prix. We're underway, perfect getaway from Freddie Rasmussen, and it's side-by-side between Rona trying to go around the outside of Abbey Corner as Sebastian Job loses second place. He's down a position. Lucas Blakely is up, then it's Longuet, Burrowman, and it's looking tough once again for Jarno Opmeer. The champion getting shuffled wide there as they come through Aintree Corner for the first time, and it's Rasmussen getting the perfect getaway. Then Rona, Job, Blakely the championship leader, then Longuet, Smith, and Opmeer in 7th as Bosch improves up to 8th.
So Ron Hart has looked to the first 2 races and gone, you know what, I don't want to be losing any more positions at the start, as Brendan Lee is now going to be fighting Sheepos round the outside. His teammates there as well, Donoso, they're up to 9th and 10th respectively in that Ferrari outfit. Jarno Opmeer looked to be getting pretty squeezed in the first couple of corners, but maintains 7th position for now. But Ron Hart, great start, right behind Rasmussen.
At the back of the field, Barry Borrowman down there in 19th position. Only Yoni Tormala behind, Danny Moreno paying for that tough qualifying earlier on, and we're watching Brendan Lee trying to put the pressure on the Alpine ahead, trying to rescue something for Ferrari, not happy with their start to the year, despite the fact that they are absolutely stacked with talent. But it has been McLaren's year so far. Only the 3rd race of the year, though. We've got 50% distance, and that
was very close for Blakely.
Very tight.
I feel like he may have just missed his braking point, or perhaps an early break from Sebastian Job. But either way, we've got someone off, Bianca Lila.
Bianca Lila off the road down there at the Vale chicane, and that will be the end of it for him. Meanwhile, we're back to live pictures on board with Lucas Blakely in the form of his life right now. He's taken the win in Bahrain, he's taken the win in Imola. If he takes it again today, that will send fear throughout all of his rivals, because he's been in good form in other competitions this year. He had that breakthrough last. That's a late move. What a late lunge in the background there for Jarno Opmeer, who had a struggle around this circuit 1 year ago. He knows in the championship he can't afford another one after falling out of the points, and he's attacking Matt on the medium tyres.
Exactly that, and he's looking at the inside of Cops. We see now this is
Send one! Oh, and he gets through! Well, it was tight stuff on the way there. Tight into Brooklands, a few corners later, tight into Cops. If you bolt that tyre on, you've got to make it work. You've got to make those moves. He has, and after a tough opening few corners on lap 1, on lap 2, it's looking better for him. Longuet trying to fight back. Longuet with his new team of Alfa Romeo this year.
It's going to be fascinating to watch Opmeer's race now on the faster tyre at the moment. You'd expect him wanting to make as many positions up as possible at the start of this race. Opmeer up to 5th. Trying to make use of his amazing racecraft and strategy and what's secured him 2 titles on the bounce. Speaking of titles, Brendan Lee also has a couple under his belt. P9 at the moment for Brendan. Of course, we've been hearing from the drivers for this week, as Ariana Bravo's been at their HQ, which has been great to get some insight from them. But yeah, Jarno Opmeer, I think, from what I've seen, the only driver in at least the top 10 on the medium tyre.
On board with Brendan Lee. So because we've got the 50% distance this year, as Matt points out, it is far more likely to see the drivers, just seeing if there was going to be an error there from Sheeplock, to see whether he opened the door for Brendan Lee, but it's giving him all the incentive at the moment, both on the same compounded tyre. But because of that 50% distance, they are relying far more on the hard to start, taking the pain of all starting on the same compound, and so you don't have to generate the tyre temperature on the outlap. That doesn't cost you all the way around, but it does cost you, and the drivers don't want to have to deal with it. Because the margins are so tight, you're not going to pull 3, 4, 5 seconds that you would ideally like. Instead, you're going to take the same strategy at the start. Fascinating that Jarno Opmeer, how many times have we seen him make an alternative strategy work? Go bold, go aggressive. He's the first one to slip out of that groupthink so far this year, but it means he's going to have to do something different compared to everyone else. He's 0.4 of a second away from Lucas Blakely, the reigning champion, trying to catch and pass the championship leader.
So when Opmeer undoubtedly pits, he is going to be hoping just to get track position and hold on as we get into the latter phases of this race. Marcel Kiefer, a lot of pain from qualifying. 15th, I think it was in the end for him. He's only managed to gain 1 place so far, starting on the hard tyres as well as the Red Bull driver. All over the back of Caraton as we now move forward to Jarno Opmeer. Not troubling Lucas Blakely at the moment on the faster medium tyres. We've also got a replay of the start where we may well be able to see some of the chaos unfold.
Okay, on board with the McLaren off the line, and you can see how tight it was heading into turn 1. We're on board with Lucas Blakely. Sebastian Job ahead. Thomas Ronart all over the back of Freddie Rasmussen. It's risky if you put the car there. They're up against Nicolas Longuet, who's ahead, and then apply the power. And by the time they went onto the Wellington Straight, that was a tidy start for the man who is the runaway points leader, albeit after 2 rounds.
It's a nice, calm and composed start for Blakely. Of course, dispatched of Nicolas Longuet, as did Opmeer on the medium tyres. Of course, Lucas, 50 points from the first 2 races. He is very clear at the moment in the drivers' standings, and he knows that races like this, you may not be able to beat Freddie Rasmussen, but it is damage limitation if you cannot make it any further up than 4.
You think Freddie Rasmussen's nigh on unbeatable today, don't you? I'm getting that feeling. He's taken pole so many times around here before. He's been on the podium 3 times around here, winner last year, but
the stats kind of are in his favour.
It kind of worked for him. He's holding the lead at the moment. He's controlling things. Always worth when we go on board to check in with the battery that the drivers have at their disposal, just underneath the gear number that you can see there as he goes from 4th to 5th. To 6th and 7th and then to 8th on the Wellington Straight, and checking in with Danny Moreno. And this is very much unlike Danny Moreno, who started today 3rd in the point standings, but a driver that has done well, race winner at Zandvoort last year, but finding himself really on the back foot. His teammate contending in the top 5, but he is in the dreaded train, and not much that he can do about it at this moment in time.
This is it, Danny Moreno. You think of him as a front runner. He drives a Mercedes, but you have a slightly off qualifying. You can't just fly through this DRS train. They are all so tightly matched. Just a 10th off in qualifying, and you have got a dreaded race ahead of you. Marcel Kiefer, another great example of that. He's only 2 cars down the road in 14th. It's so difficult that they're going to have to go different on the strategy. Go against the grain, go against the DRS train, and see if you can jump up a few positions, just like Freddie Rasmussen did at Imola.
The evocative poetry of Matthew Gallup.
Accident.
Describing things for you there. Marcel Kiefer, 14th in the first race, 2nd in Imola, 14th on the track at the moment, having gained a position. Boom and bust for him at the moment, for a driver that has been known for his consistency. Part of the reason that Red Bull keep taking teams' titles, but it's his teammate out front. Freddie Rasmussen lost out last year by fine margins, fewer than 10 points between Freddie Rasmussen and a maiden driver's title. But he's got the lead at the moment. Thomas Rona, he will be so pleased to his start in F1 Esports. One thing to do well, and he did very well in the Pro Exhibition. Another thing entirely to deliver. All 3 rounds, he's shown pace, but he's right in the box seat today. He knows that he's got the opportunity. Lap 6 of 26, a tough step up for him. Great 1-lap pace. The real test is now, though, for the young Dutch driver.
It is. You can top every time trial leaderboard in the world, but it doesn't give you racecraft, it doesn't give you that awareness, it doesn't give you the ability to execute perfect strategies. But Ronhart is in a great position now to overthrow my prediction for this race, Freddie Rasmussen. He's 3/10 back, he's got the use of DRS, so he can sit behind Freddie Rasmussen. And I think we've seen a few onboards already in this race, and not a lot of the drivers are going under 80% battery, which just shows, once again, the pace is being managed. They are not trying to push and get past as such right now. They're waiting for this pit stop window and potentially a mistake or two, but we don't tend to see many mistakes from F1 Esports drivers. I think when Freddie Rasmussen binned it in qualifying at Imola, we were all a little bit shocked to see him crash there, but apart from that, we just don't really tend to see it. Again, we're riding along with Jarno Opmeer. He's got 98% battery on the medium tyre, so he even doesn't want to make it any further through this DRS train because he knows the sacrifice of using that battery now just doesn't pay the dividends that if you were to save it and go on the attack later.
Yeah, similar to what we've seen so far this season. Stay with it. Bahrain really came alive late on, and you're going to get a lot of side-by-side action when we go through the pit stop sequence. As we make our way through Woodcote Corner, used to be the last one on the circuit. We go past the support race pits on the right-hand side, throw it in, little bit of a lift into Copse Corner, and a little bit of runoff there should you need it. But look at the gaps on the left-hand side. Brendan Lee's not too far away in the Alpine ahead of him. Wonderful commitment all the way through here. So much confidence to place the car right there. And that is really the sign of a 2-time champion. Jarno Opmeer finding himself in 5th. But up the road, man who's going to be pointing at the fact that he had to sit out last night and go, why? Given his performance, start of the year, running competitively, and scored 6th place here on for what would be a sensational podium. Would be a first podium for Sebastian Job.
Yeah, he's doing a great job at the moment. I really didn't. Every time I speak about him, it just anything else. He's just
reasonable coloured shirts. He's got the lot today.
But yeah, in that AlphaTauri, if he can hold on to P3, it would be brilliant for him. It looks like he's falling just a tiny bit away from Ron Haar, and a bit squirrely on the rear end as well, as we can see riding on board with Lucas Blakely. Lucas might be thinking, maybe it's worth getting through on Sebastian here. He's on, well, to be fair, that's probably the lowest battery we've seen on board, 70% for Blakely. So perhaps pushing on a little bit harder now as we enter lap 8 of 26. We also should probably mention Peter Staukelek's got a penalty, which was on lap 1. I believe he corner cut and gained a position. Whether that will stick, we'll have to wait and see as to whether the stewards overturn that. But I know the teams always get on the phone to argue their cases.
They do, and it happened yesterday as well, didn't it? Simon Weigand had his penalty scrubbed, which meant there was no points for the driver who starts 4th in the standings today. Jarno Opmeer currently 5th in the race at the moment. think of this like an epic film, okay? It's a little bit of a slow start. Sometimes the ones that win awards, a little bit like slow burners at the start, you get your reward later on. We've seen it time and time again. I've talked it up now, so I'm hoping that these ludicrously talented drivers spread all the way around the world. We've already seen Bravo, Ferrari, and they're hoping for a return slightly ahead of 9th and 10th, but they're going to have that option. One thing we have seen in both of the couple of races, saw it with Freddie Rasmussen yesterday with the aggressive undercut, saw it with Nicolas Longuet making a long stint work in Bahrain. We have seen drivers take a huge leap forward if you can perfect the in-lap, the stop, and the tyre warm-up phase as well. That has worked really, really nicely for an extreme gain, not just a couple of places, many places across the season. So that's something to look out for as well, outside the top 10 potentially, as you've mentioned, Matt. Those drivers, maybe Marcel Kiefer, a driver, maybe Danny Moreno to have a look at, and Barry Boromund as well. Second in the points going into this on 21. The nearest competitor, still getting a little bit Max Verstappen for Lucas Blakely. Everyone else finding themselves in difficulty and sprinting forward at the front of the field. The man will be very, very pleased with P4, but you get the feeling that this is the warm-up before the main event.
One small detail I've noticed, it seems Luke Smith is struggling to hang on to the back of Nicolas Longuet and potentially going through a bit of battery to try and stay within DRS. Currently it's 9/10 of a second. I saw it eke over to a second a moment ago, so the Alpine driver really needs to get it on. Oh, Nicolas Longuet, Jarno Opmeer's in the pits already, so Opmeer, lap 9, he's had enough of those mediums, and he is going to do that alternate strategy that we have seen him do so many times, going against the grain.
Going against the grain, but going against the grain in F1 22, the esports build of the game. So he puts on the hard tyre, so they're all on the hard tyre. But now he goes through the pain of generating that tyre temperature. We're focusing on the driver in second place at the moment. All the while, Jarno Opmeer just trying to not take too much out of those tyres, to not spike the temperature and lose the grip, and ultimately get them into a temperature window where he can perform and try and put eventual pressure on this lot. Because as you can see from the gaps, nothing really separating them. Opmeer feeling that he needed to do that today off the back of a non-score, a rare non-score at that, for the man who's taken the title in the last couple of seasons. How rare is it? Didn't happen once last year on his way to the title.
There you go. That's one of the main reasons why he took home the title last year. Now this one lap for Jarno is going to be awful for him. It's going to feel like he is on an ice rink at the moment. You can see he's lost about a second already to Tourmalet since he exits the pits. But once he's got that lap out of the way, the tyre temperature will start to build. It'll get to around 90 degrees, and that's when it kind of gets into that optimum working range. So Jarno, this is the crucial lap now. How much time is he actually going to lose? Because once that's out the way, he'll start to be quicker. Brendan Lee rolls the dice now. I believe he was on hard tyres, so he is going for a different strategy, as is Barry Boromund. They saw the undercut work yesterday at Imola and gone, you know what, I want a piece of that.
It's always going to happen, especially if you're at the lower end of the points, like Brendan Lee was. There's nothing to lose. Nothing to lose for Barry Boromund. He's stuck racing around with drivers that he will believe he's better than his results so far this season show that he's better than, and both of them, you've got a former champion there, and you've got a driver who started second in the point standings today, looking to try and move ahead, but that's extreme. That's very, very early to pull the trigger.
Certainly is. Let's see if it works out for them. Again, it'll be one of those, right, I can try and get track position and then try and cling on, hang on to that DRS train. Jarno Opmeer only pitted one lap earlier. There he is, onto the hards. You've got Brendan Lee behind on the mediums. They'll warm up a bit quicker. Will those two work together? World champions, two-time world champions, work together to stay and push on. They're not teammates, but it may well work in their favour if they do that. Lucas Blakely, championship leader. No world titles under his belt yet, but he is pushing on. You can see DRS was deploying for a moment there. And when do we see the front five, as we see Luke Smith and Patrick Schipos, who are in the same team, swap places? I think Luke Smith starting to struggle as Lucas Blakely comes into the pits.
The man at the top of the point standings applies the brakes, scrubs off the speed, Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. So slow as he goes in there. But the first of the top 4 to come into the pits and make his stop to change tyre compounds. Barry Borrowman's got a 3-second penalty as Blakely hits his marks, and he's not the only one coming in as well.
Exits his pit marks okay, it seems. I think he's still going to come out ahead, yeah, just about, of Nicholas Longay. Where will the likes of Jarno Watmir and Brendan Lee filter out in comparison to these? Freddie Rasmussen carries on. The front 3 are in their own little DRS train as Jarno Watmir sets the fastest lap. And I think we've got some team radio from Moreno.
Barry fell for the dummy. He pitted lap 10. He fell for the dummy. That's good.
Dummy pit stop.
Nice.
But there's Lucas Blakely. Look where Jarno Watmir is in comparison.
Yeah. Lucas Blakely hanging on to track position. Jarno Watmir, though, right there. Lucas Blakely, those tyres will not be in the optimum temperature window. Side by side, Watmir and Longay, they're at it again. Hard tyres versus medium tyres on the exit of Woodcote Corner. All the way through as we go to the high angle. And that is ruining the gamble that Watmir went for. He went very, very early. He was bold, and with Blakely trying to get the temperature there, for a moment he was ahead. For a moment there was an opportunity for Watmir, and it has expired in a couple of corners.
Blakely may have seen that as a bit of an opportunity to try and stretch his legs, but it's only 7/10 the gap between Blakely and Longay. Danny Moreno sets the fastest lap of the race, pushing on in P4. There's Thomas Ronhaar. Those two, Rasmussen and Ronhaar, doing something completely different to the rest of the field. They're not scared about the undercut. They're carrying on. They're sticking to whatever they've decided is their strategy for this British Grand Prix.
And so the driver who was in 14th is now promoted to 3rd, to give you a reference point for Marcel Kiefer. Freddie Rasmussen, he's converted his pole position into the lead. Thomas Ronhaar, absolute sensation so far. For a team in Haas that last year, I think they scored 8 points. Suddenly, ultra competitive, suddenly fighting for wins at the front of the field. Ronhaar's deciding to man Mark Rasmussen, who's got company. That's going to put pressure on the pit stop, pressure on the warm-up, pressure on the outlap. Not as much pressure as Sebastian Job's under, though. Lucas Blakely, this is for a place on the podium, we believe, all the way around the outside. That's a mighty move to get past his rival, who was ahead before the pit stop phase. And Lucas Blakely, we knew was in good form. That was special.
Job's really struggling out there, it seems. That's a move I was not expecting to see from Blakely all the way round the outside. Brilliant move as we now see Rasmussen and Ronhaar into the pits. Now, they may well lose track position. We could see Blakely in the lead of this race, but they're going to have much fresher medium tyres. That's what I love about this. Rasmussen and Ronhaar at the front, dictating what they want to do with their strategy. Everyone else rolling the dice, trying to get a bit of track position. This could be a very interesting next 12 laps.
So, to the very end, there you go with Ronhaar. Hits his marks, greeted by the team. There's the danger man, the championship leader. Now, I know Sebastian Job would have been coming out of the pits. He would have been trying to generate tyre temperature, but you've got to be brave to put your entire race, maybe even your championship, in the hands of a driver who wasn't competing last time out. Good driving from the pair of them, and wait for it, heading onto the circuit. Freddie Rasmussen has track position over Ronhaar, but Blakely will have the tyre temperature, and he will be cruising up to the back of them. So it's worked. They've maintained track position, but that gap is going to go down from 4/10 to 3/10, and the championship leader is making up the ground all the while. Rasmussen and Ronhaar doing the business and staying ahead, but they've now got to go through the pain of the warm-up.
It won't be too bad, though, as it's the medium tyres, but Blakely knows this is his opportunity. Ideally, he wants to sit in 2nd place and then just, with the use of DRS, sit with Rasmussen. You can see he's chatting away to his team at the moment, is Blakely, but he may well have just missed the opportunity. Perhaps that move round the outside of Job lost him that 3 or 4 tenths that he would have needed to get track position.
Let's listen to the commitment through here. Now, the exit absolutely vital. Can he get himself in the ballpark? Will Freddie Rasmussen choose to go tactical? Will he invite the Haas by into the net race lead? He doesn't need to do that at the moment. And they are back in train formation. Fascinating stuff. Job shooing along Blakely as well. But it's Freddie Rasmussen who maintains the net race lead. Then Thomas Ronhaar out ahead of championship leader Lucas Blakely, who's got to overtake one of the fastest drivers out there on the evidence of the season so far on one-lap pace, and a man who has been so consistent. The most race wins of anyone in the championship, 10 to his name on the day that Freddie Rasmussen looks to make it 11.
There's the Haas. Thomas Ronhart in a great position on exactly the same strategy as Rasmussen, who will be the net race leader once we see the pit stops from Kiefer, Moreno, Weigang and Tormela. Surely Ronhart thinks, right, this must be my best opportunity to win my very first F1 Esports Series race. Does he go for it? Does he learn from Bahrain? It was Rasmussen, if you don't remember, in Bahrain was the cause for the front wing damage. There was a bit of a tap from Ronhart. Rasmussen over the circuit, cutting the corner and hitting the Haas and causing damage, of course, just a racing incident in the end. But all of these things, I'm sure, will be running through Ronhart's head right now.
Rasmussen taking the penalty for that, dropped him down to 10th in the opening race of the year. Really strong performance with the undercut yesterday for Freddie Rasmussen, the Danish driver, taking 3rd. And today, he's looking to take another win at Silverstone, a circuit that he absolutely adores.
Otmir's just been passed by Lee as well. You just saw on the timing screen.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. There you go, Brendan Lee, ahead of Jarno Otmir, who went very, very aggressive. And now, our reigning champion, very unusual to see him have a bad day at all across the last 2 years. Is he about to have 2 bad days in a row? Currently out of the points for the 2nd consecutive race. We've got a battle for the lead. We've got the championship leader in the mix as well on the podium, and we've got the reigning champion all at sea on the hard tyres. But long way to go. He's on the more durable compound. It's just, can he have the ability to get past? And Brendan Lee, champion versus champion, ahead of him on the circuit at the moment for the final point.
It may well come back to him. The hard tyres, the mediums, of course, are going to be in a decent operating window right now, but as we get towards the end of the race, you'd have to think maybe the hards would come back to Otmir in terms of pace difference to the cars ahead. Of course, we have Kiefer, Moreno, Weigang and Tormela all to pit, which would promote Otmir up to 7th, but then you'd imagine Kiefer and Moreno would be going on an absolute charge when they eventually pit. Simon Weigang into the pits, 3-second penalty. May well have been for exceeding track limits. He's now come into the pits, as has Tormela. Weigang, after such a strong start in Bahrain, it's a shame to see it not really work out for him over these last 2 races.
Looking further back, Patrick Schiposch is finding himself trying to put the pressure on Jarno Otmir as well. This is just the basic difference between the medium compound and the hard at this stage. 17 of 26 around this fairly long circuit, the standards of F1 Esports. Locked up ahead, a little bit of worry you would imagine for Jarno Otmir, who has been the class of the field and then some for the last couple of years. You hear the ping for DRS. We go above 300 kilometers per hour, and now we're very close to above. I think we got to 201 before the brakes are applied. And making his way through the Hungarian driver, making another start today, trying to establish himself in the championship and trying to establish himself past the Mercedes on lap 17.
Freddie Rasmussen looking quite calm and composed out in front. Ronhart happy to follow him at the moment. May well have studied 2021 and how Freddie Rasmussen passed Danny Moreno on the last lap down towards Stowe Corner. And here is Ronhart. Does he want to lead from the front? Does he want to dictate the pace? Is he happy? Being able to save up his battery? I guarantee Rasmussen is as well, though. He's not going to be using his deployment too much either. I'm sure he wouldn't be too unhappy to see Ronhart pass him before the end and go on the attack on the final lap. So it's all about the strategy, all about the placement for Ronhart. 0.3 of a second behind. So we have Danny Moreno in the pits. The only non-pitter now is Marcel Kiefer, 20 seconds down the road from Freddie Rasmussen.
Danny Moreno dropping down the order. What a day to forget. The accomplished driver in the second Mercedes down there in 17th. And this is, you can see, last time around, the gap at one point under 0.3 of a second. is Freddie Rasmussen, who always is competitive, always wins, always cool under the pressure like this. But this is some pressure, even at Silverstone, even where the tactics, even when he's won here last year, knows that he's chasing that first win of the season, knows that he's chasing a way back into this championship battle. And on a day like this, where Opmeer is having a very un-Opmeer-like day, he knows that he's got to do something about it. Ron Haar as well, trying to convert all of that brilliant form so far, all of the speed, into a maiden podium in just his third start.
Certainly, looking very strong as we take a look at the back of that Red Bull. And Marcel Kieffer does finally come into the pits. Danny Moreno, for reference, came out in 17th place. He was 6 or 7 tenths behind Marcel Kieffer. That just shows you where Marcel is going to come out, and he's going to have to go full charge for the next 7 laps. Freddie Rasmussen will not have his rear gunner in that Red Bull to help him. And Ron Haar, just no, he has to. He's got a competitive spirit in him. He wasn't afraid to get stuck in Bahrain. I can imagine, just to keep that excitableness at bay, just be like, right, come on. How did Freddie win? Last lap. I think that's something we may well be looking at again, a final lap showdown.
Very, very quick. The one thing that will encourage him, very quick at key corners. We don't know what the battery usage is, but he does appear to have enough of a launch off the corners. We heard from the Red Bull yesterday, from Marcel Kieffer, the traction just every time for Lucas Blakely was just a bit too good. Couldn't even really look to shape for a move. The gaps we've got here. Standard by Esports. Lofty caliber, but it's one mistake. It's one moment, just a couple of meters wider there. Race lead is gone, not just the race lead, podium chance as well. Freddie Rasmussen with an error qualifying earlier in the year. And what a turnaround this could have been for Lucas Blakely, who had issues earlier in the day, was staring at the exit of one section of qualifying, kept cool, kept composed, was laughing in relief more than anything else. Well, that's a huge difference between a potential 15 points and just ticking along nicely with everyone else scrapping with themselves. And that is a near perfect foundation he has given himself as we tick into the latter stages. So it's another consistent day for our championship leader, Danny Moreno, out there just raging against the day that he's got with the fastest lap of the race on the medium tyres. Brendan Lee with a bit of form, trying to chase down Nicholas Longate. Opmeer static in 7th position, and Luke Smith hanging on to the final point at the moment, which will be a welcome reward for him. As we check in on Brendan Lee. Up a few places, he'll be pleased with that. Went aggressive though, didn't he, Brendan Lee? So the advantage might swing back the other way, but he's got himself track position. He'll worry about it later on. And as we go back to the live picture, Sebastian Job very close to the back of Lucas Blakely, under 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, you wonder if some of the drivers are starting to turn up the wick a little bit here. Sebastian Job probably not too happy after that move that Blakely put on him after the Wellington straight. Here's Ron Haar, still 4 tenths back. Can't imagine that'll trouble Rasmussen. Sebastian Job maybe fancies getting back on the podium. What's his energy saying? 30%. Not a lot to play with in these next 6 laps, but it's enough to go on the attack for sure. Longate looks like he is struggling to keep tabs of Sebastian Job in this Alpha Tauri. And this is it, right? Ron Haar's fine. He can sit behind Rasmussen. He'll like, yeah, I'll take P2 into the last lap. But Blakely won't. Blakely won't be happy sitting in 3rd. No. Job not in 4th. They all want to be moving up, shuffling up the order. I'm not sure you want to lead into the last lap, but who knows? We're going to find out.
Well, Rasmussen's got that decision to make. He's held the lead throughout. Once we've cycled through the pit stop sequence, he's always been the net race leader. Ooh, getting the power down. Sebastian Job tries to keep tabs. Are again springing off the corner before the straights. Down the Wellington straight, he's good. He's strong out of Chapel corner as well. Exit of Beckett's and into Chapel corner. He's strong here as well. Out of Luffield and into Woodcote.
There you go, that's the intel we wanted, Alex. 71% battery.
That is a lot in the back pocket. And Rasmussen now has a tactical call to make. Let the young man go. and chase his first win when he's looking for win number 11. The old master up against the young apprentice who's coming out on top here.
Let's not forget Mexico last year. Was it Freddie Rasmussen that, Jarno, I think it was Jarno up there, just was scared off the road, let Rasmussen through and then allowed him to get DRS on him. Will there be those kind of tactics again? Oh no, I've made a mistake. Please come through, Ron Hart. We don't know. Ron Hart is a rookie of this F1 Esports series, but he's got a lot of league racing under his belt. This is not the first time he's raced Rasmussen. He knows how to win, but can he do it on the main stage?
Oh, this is fantastic to see a new name with a team that isn't often at the front, a team that was barely scoring points in previous years, now with a chance of victory. What a driver to try and snatch it from. Hugely experienced in taking Red Bull to the $750,000 prize pool on offer, and Rasmussen just sitting there all the while, looking at the Haas, looking at the McLaren, looking at the Alfa Tauri, looking at the Alfa Romeo. Can keep going. It's different teams all the way down. It's ultra competitive. These cars are equal. Of course, the drivers are making the difference, and it's a Red Bull out front once again in 2022. Rasmussen is so good at backing up his convictions. They would have seen what we saw. They would have seen the amount of battery that the Haas has as well. We're looking back there. We haven't seen what Freddie Rasmussen's playing with. But at the moment, it's 0.3 of a second. A lot of commitment through there, but then you see the gap elongate. You're always taking more speed through there if you're the lead car. Ron Hart, close, but not close enough. If you're just joining us, it's the third F1 Esports Pro Championship race of the year. It's a really strong run from this new exciting talent in the Haas. Thomas Ron Hart, he's had a pole position so far. He was fighting this man for a place on the podium in Bahrain. Today, he's fighting him for a win. And this one, it might yet have a sting in the tail. This one might yet have a final twist because it has been reserved by the lofty standards of F1 Esports, but it has a fantastic narrative at the front of the field. The young pretender, the old master, and a victory on the line. All the while, Lucas Blakely willing them, begging them to do what they did in Bahrain and open the door for the three-peat. Let's hear now from the reigning champion. Tough day for Jarno Opmeer in 7th.
And if their tires stay alive, then I'm gonna be depressed. I've never in my life had to push so hard.
So Opmeer, earlier on, did not choose to start on the hard tyres.
This time. So it's really good to drive, to be honest.
It's close now, you can tell the victory's on the line. So a tough day for Jarno Opmeer. A special day already for Thomas Ron Hart. He knows that he's on his way to the podium. Is he prepared to risk it, Matt Gallagher, in order to get the win?
Yes, come on. Come on, Ron Hart. Give us a last lap battle for sure. It's interesting to hear from Jarno Opmeer. Sounds almost mystified about these drivers being able to take these medium tyres as long as they have. And not just that, but be as quick as they are as well. Jarno Opmeer not at the back of Brendan Lee, 0.8 back, currently in 7th. A lot of work to do, it has to be said, after this first event of these 3 days. Hopefully you've enjoyed the 3 races that have started this championship. That 24 of 26. Thomas Ron Hart absolutely on the back of Freddie Rasmussen. All he has to do is press go, and we're going to see side-by-side action.
Oh, he's nearly soaring the Red Bull in half into Brooklands corner. Statement of intent, you know what's coming, you know he's giving it everything. Slight correction there as he applied the power through there. He can't afford that too much. That moment, that tiny moment, that can be the difference. Ron Hart right there, able to follow in the dirty air, lap after lap after lap. And this is all of his hopes illustrated right in front of you. Will he go for a half move? How much of a gap is he going to need to see? I think how aggressive he's being through Maggots and Beckett's is your answer.
I was just looking at his steering wheel, went green for a second, which meant it turned on his overtake button, but he turns it off again. He doesn't want to lead yet.
We are winding up to the penultimate lap of the race. Freddie Rasmussen last year chose to cede track position in order to get it back on the final tour. last year, we did not go to half race distance of the real thing. It is further than we've ever been around this Silverstone circuit when there are 25 points for the win. No one else other than Lucas Blakely has taken a win. Blakely doesn't appear to have the pace to mix it with these two. It has been a wonderful performance to heap on the pressure from Thomas Ronhaar. That is the man from Holland about to apply the pressure when it matters, up against the Dane. Man from the Netherlands looking for the way through. Once again, so aggressive into Brooklands. And slightly wide on the exit as a result. This is going to be so interesting. But is he leaving it until the very end? He's got the battery. We don't know if Rasmussen, be interesting to go on board with him, just see what he's working with before we go on to the crucial last lap of the race. It's all about these two. No one else has been able to live with them today.
I promise you, Freddie's got something in the tank to defend as well. He would not leave himself vulnerable. But Ronhaar, penultimate lap of the race, he just has to stay within touching distance. He won't go on the aggressive yet. He's been sizing up this entire race for the next lap.
This is what I love about it. Okay, there you go.
70%, Freddie's got it all.
So, he's got enough to defend. He's up against a driver, though, that he has raced before in other competitions. But what's it going to be like on the final lap of this race? Big last couple of sectors for Freddie Rasmussen there to get it out from what was 3/10 to 4/10. Can Rasmussen break away from Thomas Ronhaar? Is he going to effectively do lights to flag? He only lost the lead as those who stayed out on the alternative strategy waited to make their pit stops. Lap 26 of 26, Rasmussen, Ronhaar, Blakely, Job, then Longay, Lee, Otmir, Shiposh, and then Donoso and Smith with Jarno Otmir claiming back the place. Looking in the background there, he's got past the Ferrari and he's moved up to 6th position. But can the Haas get the Red Bull in the final half of the lap?
It's a really strong first sector for Rasmussen. He's just eked out that advantage just a tiny bit, but Ronhaar will benefit from the slipstream now all the way down to Maggots and Beckett's. Then will suffer a little bit, but then he'll have one more dose of DRS. Do either of them have enough energy for this final attack? Ronhaar, you'd have to imagine, is going to try something, but Freddie Rasmussen is nailing these corners at the moment. Half a second, that's a lovely buffer.
That is terrific work on the final tour, where he took the lead at this point last year at this corner, but he's led for nearly every corner this time around. What a superb performance by the man who has more wins than any other driver in F1 Esports. It's been a Silverstone masterclass for Freddie Rasmussen for the 11th time in F1 Esports. Freddie Rasmussen wins. He takes the flag at Silverstone, a first podium for Thomas Ronhaar, who has driven superbly, but he was left behind on that final lap, and the championship leader continues his run, not on the top step today, but in third place. More useful points in the championship. A superb points haul as well for Sebastian Job and Jarno Otmir getting up to 5th. It's this man's day, though. He's the winner at Silverstone for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah, great race from Freddie Rasmussen. Had it under control. That last lap was spectacular from Freddie. Also, worth mentioning, Jarno Otmir making up a couple of positions at the end of that race and setting the fastest lap of the race on 17-lap-old hard tyres. So that's an extra point for Jarno Otmir as well. But Freddie Rasmussen, it's his day today.
Yeah, superb stuff for Freddie Rasmussen. We've seen him do it time and time again, but we've said this sentence before, Tom Deacon. Freddie Rasmussen is the winner.
We have indeed. Thank you very much to Alex Chase and to Matt Gallagher. A brilliant commentary there of what was a fascinating race, Nick. What did you make of it, apart from the fact that Freddie is just ice cold? He has pole, he will go on to win it, but what did you make of that?
Yeah, that was a Freddie masterclass, wasn't it? We thought Thomas Ronhaar had so much battery left over that he was going to attack, but we went on board with Freddie and he had it all in the bag. So calm, so collected, and especially on the last lap, he actually even started to make a gap, which was incredible. So, yeah, great job from him, and, yeah, good to see him in the top step of the podium.
And personal excitement, it's about Alpine picking up their first points of the team championship. Luke Smith, on his debut race, he had a P7 to begin the race, but ends up picking up a point. And then Patrick Sipos in 8th. So they get their first points. Are you as excited as I am?
Yeah,
I'm
you've
looking
been
at your
flying
eyes.
the flag. You've been flying the flag for Alpine all day. So, yeah, they've got a new fan in you, a new fan in me as well. And I think it's great to see Luke Smith. He's done a great job today, really good job in qualifying, and to be able to back it up in the race with a points finish in his debut is fantastic.
And I know that Ariana Bravo will be relieved at the fact that Ferrari, both drivers, in the points. So if we do chat to her, hopefully if everything's sorted with the tech, we'll be able to chat to her, and they should be a little bit happier.
Yeah, you can see how they were working as a team, weren't they? They got a great start together. They worked together and stayed consistent all the way through. So Brendan's going to be happy. I think Fab Donoso is going to be very happy as well. And it's another building block for them to build from for the next event.
OK, well, both of us have made some notes. We'll digest them, analyse them, and then when we come back, we'll share them all with you. Come back and join us after the break. You join us for Event 1 of the F1 Esports Pro Championship. We're riding on board with Freddie Rasmussen. Guess what? He had pole position going into this race, and no surprises when he crossed the line in first place. Brilliant race strategy from him. Was it ever in doubt? We're just witnessing the last couple of corners. Ice cold. Will there be a celebration as he crosses the line? Yes, there was. Massive celebrations from the one and only Freddie Rasmussen.
What a guy.
He's just so relaxed, Nick. It sounds like I'm mocking him. I'm not at all. He's just so in the zone, and we don't get those exuberant celebrations. It's just like, yeah, That's my 11th win.
Yeah, that's
in the
what he
Pro Championship.
plans, that's what he expects, that's what he does. So, yeah, it's great to see that, you know, he has so much belief in himself. Yeah, he doesn't show his passion like others, but he's clearly very dedicated. And, yeah, what a performance from him today.
And withstanding that charge from Haas's, yes, that's right, Haas's. Thomas Ronhaar. It was just, I mean, because we don't normally see a Haas driver dominating the way that Thomas has. He's really taken Event 1 by storm. Freddie seemed pretty relaxed, but Thomas gave it everything there.
Yeah, Thomas has really exploded onto the scene. You know, I've been watching him for quite a while now, and really seeing him come onto the scene, do such a great job. I was saying in the quali show, he's great at one lap pace. He was just seeming to struggle a little bit with first lap in races. But once he gets that together, he's going to be really strong. And he did that today. He tried to make sure he didn't make any mistakes on the first couple of laps, and he ended up with a P2. What a great job from him. And I think he's only going to get stronger and stronger. But Freddie, you can't take it away from him. You know, he knows how to deal with pressure, and deal with pressure is exactly what he did.
He did indeed. Obviously, let's talk about podiums because Lucas Blakely got another podium. Didn't get the win, but before we get to chat about Lucas, let's talk about Freddie. The tactical nous that he has is just exceptional, and keeping that lead was so important because Sebastian Job was unable to.
Yeah, I mean, Freddie got a great launch, which was good, and I was really thinking Thomas Ronhaar was going to make a dive into turn 4. That's probably why I'm sitting here and he's sitting at his rig. But Freddie did a great job. You know, he was so consistent all the way through. He had the battery to defend, and yeah, came across the line and actually had the fastest lap at that point when he came across the line, and I think Otmir snatched it from him, but it just shows how dedicated, how fast he was, even on the last lap.
Yeah, I was devastated for Manuel Biancolila. He said before going into this third race of Event 1, this event isn't going as planned, and then another DNF spinning out. So disappointing, but, you know, a lot of drivers will be frustrated from their performance, but some of the drivers will be just on cloud 9. Lucas Blakely, again, just looking so good. Another podium for him.
Yeah, I think it's a dream start for him. I don't think he could do any better, you know, really, if you think about it realistically. Obviously, better would be winning 3 out of 3, but in terms of getting 2 wins and a third, what an amazing start to his season. And he's just a man that is full to the brim with confidence. You can see the way he's driving here, just
my sound gone. Yeah, Nick, my sound's gone, which we don't know how to deal with that. But obviously, just stepping up and just showing why he's sort of got that edge, he's got that competitiveness that's going to sort of drive him on. And if he continues to get podiums, that's going to be really difficult for someone like Jarno Opmeer, who was fantastic going, I believe, from P9 up to P5. Fantastic start for him, and picks up fastest lap, so gets an extra championship point.
Yeah, but not to take anything away from Jarno, you know, P5 isn't enough. It's not enough for a double world champion. So he's got a lot of homework to do, I think, for the up-and-coming events, especially to make inroads in on the likes of Lucas, who's being super consistent. So it's a long season. We've got so many races left, yeah, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, Sebastian Job finishing in 4th for the AlphaTauri team. They're trying to pick up as many points as possible, as every team is. Sounds ridiculous saying that, but he was just very good today, and just showing a bit more, a lack of experience sometimes compared to the likes of Lucas Blakely and Freddie Rasmussen, but the pace is there, the racecraft is there. He can only get better from here.
Yeah, qualifying was amazing from him. He nearly ended up on pole, and I don't think he had a bad race at all. Yeah, I think he may have slipped back a little bit at the start of the race, but he was able to still keep P4. And P4, when you start P2 for the first time, I think, on the front row, yeah, that's a really good day for him. So well done to Sebastian, and hopefully he can just continue to build on that.
OK, let's have a look at the race results then. As things stand, this is a provisional classification of round 3 of Event 1. I don't know why I've given it that flourish, but I have. Nicholas Longay of Alfa Romeo. We expected him to be pushing up. 8 more points for him. Brendan Lee in 7th with 6 points. Patrick Sipos, congratulations to him and the Alpine team. They pick up not only that 8th place, but also 10th for them. So 5 points on the board. and Fabrizio Donoso with the 2. So, DHL fastest lap. It goes to Joni Tormela. You check your hair, Joni, because you are on fire. However, 2 times back-to-back DHL fastest laps go to Joni Tormela. It's great, you got the fast lap, but it's not where he wants to be. He wants to be back up in the points and showing that consistency and that form that we know he's got.
Yeah, especially when he's seeing his teammate Sebastian do so well. We know that Joni has it in him. You know, you just have your odd and off days every now and then, and sometimes when you have your off days, it snowballs and it downward spirals, and maybe Joni is in that moment at the moment, currently. But let's hope he can pick himself up. We know what he can do. We know the pace, the talent, and the consistency he has. We've seen it so many times.
I am so excited to chat to our driver of pretty much the moment right now, picking up his first win of the 2022 season. It's the one and only Freddie Rasmussen. Freddie, congratulations on your win today. What did it feel like to cross that line first?
Thank you. Of course, it feels great to win a race, especially after the terrible start we had with the penalty, nonsense penalty. Yeah, it feels good to get a win.
Yeah, and in Imola, Freddie, 9th up to 3rd. Myself and Nick were complimenting about your strategy. It worked out perfectly. We know how good you are of a driver. We'd like to know, though, the secret. 3 back-to-back poles at the British Grand Prix. Why do you love this circuit so much?
It's not my favorite track, but I think on this game, it's the track with the least exploits. It's a more natural track, realistic track, which is why I think I'm good at it.
OK, and Nick and I were talking about Marcel Kiefer backing you up in Imola. What's the plan and strategy for Event 2? Same again, try and work your way up the Team Championship leaderboard?
We need to find a lot of speed. We're way off pace compared to Haas and especially McLaren. So we had a lot of work to do to find some exploits or setups. I don't know what it is, but we're lacking a lot of pace.
Well, I know for a fact Liam Parnell, your 3rd driver of that Red Bull team, is going to be working tirelessly, as I'm sure you are. Once again, Freddie Rasmussen, congratulations on your win today at Silverstone.
Thank you.
There you go. Freddie Rasmussen. It was short, it was sweet, the interview. It was definitely not like Lucas Blakely chatting. But, Nick, I'm going to leave you for a second because Matt needs me over there. I don't want to make him feel lonely. Welcome. What a race that was, Matt. It was just end-to-end stuff. And Freddie Rasmussen showing why we love him as a driver so much and why we always think he's going to be there as the driver's champion.
Yeah, he does most of his talking on track, doesn't he? He's saying he lacks a lot of pace. I didn't think he lacked any pace around Silverstone, especially that last lap where we thought Ronha was going to go on the attack, and Rasmussen had enough in the locker to defend on that final lap and, yeah, smashed it.
Yeah, he did indeed. Talking about the sort of, like you say, just leaves the talking on track. Would other teams now be a little bit worried that Freddie's just found that form? He's always a slow starter, but now he's showing that pace again.
Yeah, it's weird how his interview was saying we've got a lot of time to find and, you know, exploit setups, whatever, you know, trying to find the right line around certain tracks. Clearly, there's a lot of homework for all the teams to do. I don't think they maybe expected some of the teams to be as quick or, you know, because you don't show your proper hand until the F1 Esports series starts. So I think Rasmussen's just, you know, being quite humble.
Yeah, humble brags. Matt, everyone wants to know, driver of the day, Aramco driver of the day.
Yes, and my Aramco driver of the day goes to Thomas Ronha. I think that he has been taking steps forward every single time this week that we've seen him race. And a P2, so strong, didn't manage to beat Rasmussen at the end. But as a rookie, he is making some serious waves in this F1 Esports series.
He is making those waves indeed. He was brilliant in the Pro Exhibition. What is it? I mean, we say that he hasn't had that experience in terms of coming into the F1 Pro Championship. However, he just seems like he's been here for years. Like, that's how comfortable he looks.
Yes, the experience of the pre-season, the league racing, you know, it isn't the first time he's raced against these drivers, and he's taken it like a duck to water. You know, the experience is clearly there already. He's not fazed by the $750,000 prize pool, and he is absolutely loving life. Some drivers do well in these scenarios, some some don't.
Yeah, he is the saviour of Haas, giving them a real chance to be pushing themselves up in the team championship. Thomas Ronha is joining us now. Thomas, it only feels like yesterday we were at Silverstone in the Pro Exhibition where you won that. Tell us, for the first time, how are you feeling? You've been phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a really cool feeling to be standing on the podium for the first time. Could have been at Bahrain, my debut race, but unfortunately an incident happened and got an incident with a Ferrari, and yeah, very happy to be on the podium. It's a really cool feeling.
Hey, these things happen. Bahrain just set the tone. Everyone got a little bit nervous. Look out, Thomas is coming. Have you been appreciating the love on Twitter, on social media? Everyone's like, who's this rookie? He's come from nowhere.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the compliments I'm getting, and it's definitely giving a confidence boost, especially for next event 2.
Hey, Thomas, rest up. Enjoy this feeling of getting your first podium in the Pro Championship, and we will catch you in event 2. Thomas Ronha, just so relaxed. He's chilled. Let's see if Ariana Bravo is as chilled in Maranello with Brendan Lee in the points. He must be very happy.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I am feeling quite chilled now. I feel like there's been a collective sigh of relief now that the event 1 is done. How are you feeling, Brendan?
I think a sigh of relief is the wrong way to put it. The work's just... Well, I mean, the work's just started and we got hard work to do ahead of next event.
True, but for me, I can breathe now. I've been keeping silent next door so that I don't disturb you guys.
Yeah, we can get pretty frustrated by all the noise.
Yeah, I think we've been quite irritating over this week, but we appreciate you letting us come and eavesdrop.
No, irritating not. It's been a pleasure.
A pleasure. You see, I kept the mic here until we said a compliment there. How do you feel about the race?
I think the race was really good. Of course, we started in the P10 position and Fabrizio P12, but we had good execution on the first lap to avoid contact with other cars and work together with the ERS. We performed the undercut and then was hanging on in the DRS train, but the cars ahead were exceptionally fast. But that makes the challenge even more exciting to catch them for next race.
And we could hear, Nick picked up earlier on the fact that you guys seem to be working quite well together as a team. And I could also overhear you talking about how Fabrizio was doing and how to support one another. How essential was that for this race?
I think, of course, it's essential to have not only a good team behind you, but a good teammate. Fabrizio is an amazing teammate, David as well. And we're all working extremely hard. So I think next event can be good.
And how much confidence do you have going into the next events now that this first one is done and dusted? You've been out there, you've seen how it feels. This is the first weekend as this new lineup as well. How do you feel?
I feel extremely confident. I have 100% belief in the team. I have 100% belief in myself. We're going to be putting the hours in and eating some pasta to drive faster behind the scenes. And yeah, I look forward to it.
Well, what can we say? That's pretty positive there going ahead into the next events. And I think the team are going to be exceptionally happy with how beautifully Brendan answers all of these media questions. So thank you so much. Thank you all for letting us join you this last few days. We appreciate it. Tom, how are you doing back in the studio?
I'm just jotting that down, Ariana. Pasta to make you go faster. Ariana, I just want to know, I mean, have you enjoyed being down at Maranello, and have you learned anything about the F1 Esports in general and their setup?
Yeah, I've absolutely loved being here. It's been like I've just been dropped into a completely different world. I'm used to being obviously trackside with Formula One, but it has been really exciting being here. One thing that I actually want to ask you about is the difference in the setups of your seats. Sorry, guys, I'm going completely off script here. But why does Fabrizio have it so much higher, like a normal car seat, and you opt for this low-down F1 style?
Because I can sleep in between driving.
My kind of guy. Love that. Brendan, thank you so much. Guys, that is all from here in Maranello. We hope you've enjoyed us taking you behind the scenes.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Ariana. Matt Gallagher, Alex Jakes, the Maroon Brothers. It's been a brilliant day. Nick, any surprises, main surprises that have stood out for you, Matt, in the last 3 races?
Brendan Lee's PR answers. They have been something to behold. No, love to hear from them. But Ronha's obviously been the big talking point, the big surprise coming into this week. You never know how he's going to perform under, well, I said under the lights, not actually here, but you know what I mean. It's still for a big prize. So, yeah, Ronha has to be the surprise for me.
Alex, best driver over the last 3 days?
Lucas Blakely's magic, and he wears the magic hat. That's what we've seen after event 1.
Nick, best driver for you?
It's got to be Lucas Blakely, but Thomas is right hard on his heels.
All right, OK, let's have a look at the driver standings then before we leave. That's how we leave things. We will be back in 4 weeks' time, I believe. It's in my diary, but I don't have it with me. So that is event 1 done and dusted. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in 4 weeks' time.
It is a long season. We've got 12 races to go. They are longer races than before.
Here we go.
It's time to push. It's time to show us what you've really got.
The McLaren Shadow team, they have nailed it at the moment.
Lucas Blakely wins the opening race of the year.
And it is pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go.
Tagged from behind, Otmir completely sent him into a 360.
Lucas Blakely is the winner of the F1 Esports Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Sensational stuff here.
The lights go out and we're racing for the British Grand Prix. That's a mighty move. It's been a Silverstone masterclass for Freddie Rasmussen.